Hello, I'm Michael Longo, an information technology student at Florida State University and soon-to-be graduate. In this video, I will show you how to create your own simple computer game using GameMaker software. We'll start by downloading and installing the software before becoming acquainted with the program's interface and learning what sprites, objects, and rooms are. Toward the end, we will define object behavior so that the game works as it should, and in the end, we will have a fully functioning computer game. Viewers should have experience using Microsoft Windows along with basic file management skills, a working internet connection, a somewhat modern personal computer, and interest in creating a video game. So if you're ready, let's begin.
Come on.
First, you'll need to download the GameMaker software from the Yo-Yo Games website. Find the link in the comments of this video to take you to the download page, where you'll find the Lite edition of GameMaker. This is a free download just over 10 megabytes in size. After that, go ahead and install the software by running the executable you just downloaded. It should only take a few minutes, and you can install it wherever you'd like. Before we open GameMaker, we will need some files to use in creating our game. I have provided these files in a separate link in the comments of this video. Please download and extract these files. We'll now open GameMaker for the first time. Double-click the shortcut. At this window, press Don't Upgrade Now to continue. Here we are in GameMaker Lite Edition. In the top left, you'll see the sprites, sounds, backgrounds, objects, and rooms that will populate the game. Also important is the Start button here, which will start the game. You can also use F5 to do that. Alright, so our first goal here is going to be to import all these different file types that we're going to use in the game. And we're going to start with the sprites, which are essentially the graphical representations of the characters in the game. Here, right-click, click Create Sprite. See the Sprite Properties window come up. The name here is important. We're going to name it SPR Blue. The SPR is simply a naming convention, and then blue is a descriptive name. Actually, the blue character is going to be the one that we control in the game. So press Load Sprite to choose which sprite to use. Find blue. And just for fun, we're going to add a little animation to him to make it spin in the game. This window is going to pop up. We're going to come over to Animation, Rotation Sequence, Clockwise. At the number of frames, we're going to make it 8. See the rotation was applied here. And press the check mark. See sub-images were created so that in the game, it's going to quickly move between these sub-images, making it look like it's spinning. Press OK. The sprite is done. But now we're going to have to do this for the remaining sprites. Next we'll do SPR Red, which is going to be the little enemies in the game. Name it SPR Red. If you choose to do an animation, you can do that, but it's not mandatory. You have to remember though on SPR Wall to uncheck Transparent. It messes with the visibility later when we're placing these walls in the rooms. So I'm going to complete this one and then skip ahead. Okay, so you should now have 7 sprites imported here. If you also imported the play area, that's actually a background file, which we're going to import in just a second. But right now we're going to move on to the sounds. Again, you right-click, create, and another window pops up. This one smaller. You should have 2 sound files here with what you downloaded. This will be impact, which will hear when your ship impacts the other ship. You can preview it. That's enough of that. Do the same thing for the laser sound. Sorry, I'm typing with one hand here. Press OK on that. You have 2 sounds. We're going to do background now. Just one of these. Looks a lot like sprites. Load background, play area. See, this is the 800 by 800 image that we'll use to cover the room. It's not going to be moving around the room like the sprites might. Call it BG Play. You can actually call it whatever you want. I'm just staying consistent with the naming convention here. Press OK, and we now have sounds, backgrounds, and sprites. Alright, now let's take a look at the Objects window. Again, right-click, Create. You'll see the Object Properties window show up, and this one looks a little bit different from the other windows because you see you have a lot more going on here. You have an Events pane and Actions, and a bunch of tabs here. These are actually the actions that you drag into the Actions panel. We're not doing that right now, though. For now, we're just going to be creating the objects and matching the sprites with them. So let's start with object blue. Click this button here and select blue. Press OK, and the object is created. But we need to do this for all 7 sprites. And on object wall, just remember to check solid here. It will change how collision events occur with it. Okay, so I skipped ahead a little bit, but you can see I've got the 7 objects here, and you should have the same. Before we continue, though, I'm going to have to give a little explanation on some terms. As you saw in the Object Properties window, there are both events and actions that need to be defined. It is these actions that will define the object behavior. When an event occurs, an action must follow. For example, a collision event, which we will be working with, only occurs when 2 objects come together, while an alarm event will only happen after a certain amount of time has passed. This time is measured in steps, which occur at a rate of 30 per second. We're now going to define events and actions for object blue. We'll start with the basic movement controls. Go to Add Event, Keyboard, and Up. This event only occurs when the up arrow key is pressed on the keyboard, and to respond to that event, we will use the Move Fixed action. Drag and drop it into the Actions panel, click Up, enter the speed of 12, and press OK. Do this for up, down, left, and right. With these movement controls entered, we can actually give our game a test run. To do this, we'll need to create a room. Go to Rooms, Create Rooms, Backgrounds tab, and here we are assigning the background play to the room. See, it fills in the image here. Next, go to the Settings tab, change the room to whatever you might like, the room name. The caption is actually the title of the window that the game will be running in. And the width and the height also need to be changed to match the background size. Finally, go to the Objects tab, browse to Object Blue, it's the only one we have events and actions for, and click in here. Now you're good to go. Press the check mark and the green arrow to run the game. Now you can see we have the game running. You can use the up, down, left, and right arrow keys to move around the screen, but unfortunately you can also go straight off the screen because the walls are not set up. So we're going to have to fix this up and make it into more of a game.